your paycheck disappears before you even get the paycheck? Well, I want you to stick around to the end of this video, and I am going to share with you some tips that you can use that will help your finances improve. It's so important because when we get paid, what we do with our money on paycheck day, this can make a big difference. So I'm guilty of it myself. Sometimes people, they can get paid and then they'll spend their money first, and then whatever they have left over, they'll pay their bills. Today is Saturday, and I want to go out. It's a couple places. I want to go to a yard sale, it's a couple health fairs. But what I'm going to do, I have my budget journal. I'm going to actually look at my paycheck and see how much it is first. So I'm going to log into my bank account and look at my paycheck and see how much it is. The reason why I want to do this before I even go to the store, before I even go to the yard sale, before I spend anything, I am going to pay my bills first. This is so important because sometimes I know a lot of people, they struggle financially, but sometimes it's not because a person isn't making a lot of money. It's sometimes that we may not be managing our money correctly. So, what I'm going to do in a few minutes, I know I have some credit card. I want to pay down debt. That's one of my goals. Um, so, I'm going to go through each of my credit cards and I'm going to see what is the due date. And I'm going to pay my credit card. Because one thing about also on payday, if you sit down and you go over your finances and you look at your bills that is due, it also will help improve your credit score too. Hello, hi, thank you for joining me. Yes, we have to pay our bills because if we're just getting paid on Friday and then we're just swiping and then later we come back and say, hey, I want to pay my bills, this can cause a major problem. It could make your credit bad. Because I talk to some people feel like credit doesn't matter. But to me, yes, it does. If you have a high interest credit card, if you pull your credit card statement and you look and see how much money you're paying towards interest, oh my goodness, this will change this will change the way you look at paying high interest, because just think about it. We could be using that money to invest with. If we're a homeowner, I'm a homeowner. So, with homeowners, you have repairs. So we just don't want to give our money away to the credit card companies. So before you get paid and start shopping, it's so important that you do these three things. And I am including myself in this too. Number one, you want to log into your checking account and see what your balance is first. And then write down what bills is due in that time period. Write down your bills and then write down what your balance is, and then you can subtract, to make sure that you have enough money. And then I would put that money, the bill money, in a separate account. That way when you're out on the weekends, you won't have to worry. Hello, you won't have to worry about getting banks overdraft, because remember, it's so easy to get overdrafts. And Wells Fargo, I had one and they charged me, I think it was $35. So if you have a separate account for your bill money, where when you're out shopping, you won't have to worry about overdraft fees. And if you want to go into do some shopping, you won't have to worry about spending your bill money because some of the bill money, the automatic, when you set up a payment, it'll take the bank 2 or 3 days. So if you make the payment on Friday and you're out shopping, or the money may not come out until Tuesday. So that's something that I recommend. Hello. And number three, pay yourself first, even if it's just $10 or $20. This is so important because you'll be amazed. Pay yourself first, even if it's just $10 or $20. You'll be amazed what you can do with that. You can do with that money, and then each month it'll start adding up. But it's a good idea to put that in like a separate bank, or something that you won't be able to get to real easy. But that money, it comes in handy because you never know when you're going to have an emergency. You can use that money to um, get an oil change. You can use that money to get a tire. So it's always good to remember to pay yourself first. And number three, we want to set money aside for upcoming bills. So that's just what I just said a few minutes ago. We first have to know what bills are due, and then we want to set that money aside because that takes so much stress off of us when we set money aside for bills. It's like, oh, you can breathe you can breathe so much better when you know that you have the money there, and the money is there. Because we don't want to, like I said, go out and shop or spend money and then later come back home and then the money's not there. We don't want to do that because I see a lot of people, they'll go out and they'll buy what they want. And then when they need money, they'll have to go ask other people for money. You know, I see this, I see this a whole lot. People, they do that. And sometimes, we have to look at ourselves and see how we are, managing our money. So what we do with our paycheck, it can make a big difference of how we manage our money. And my main goal is to help people build financial freedom and financial wealth. And these are the steps that we have to take if we want to build, financial freedom, and if we want our income to increase. So that's why it's so important. I'm sitting here on a Saturday, I want to go out, but I'm going to go over my finances first. And then once I go out today, I'll feel a whole lot better knowing that, hey, I went over my finances. Um, I have the money. I made sure I go ahead and pay my bills because credit is so important. We don't want to mess up our credit. I know things happen, but a lot of stuff, we can we can prevent certain things from happening. Thank you everybody for joining us live. And also I do one-on-one consultations, so you can click the link in my description and book an appointment with me, because I just want to tell everybody that yes, we can turn things around in our finances, but these are the three things that you can start off by doing every time you get paid. Because, we have to start off small and then later increase, we can increase our finances by doing more. And then also, this will let us know, do we have an income problem or do we have a money management problem? Hello, thank you. Thank you for joining me. Yeah, this will let you know if you're managing your money wrong. Because remember, if we have a income problem, that means we need to get more money coming in. But sometimes people, they may have a money management problem. They have enough coming in, but they are spending, they are spending too much money. But the first step is that we have to figure out what the problem is with our finances, because a lot of people, once we take accountability and we're saying, okay, hey, I have a problem, but you'll be surprised of how many people who do not sit down and realize that they have a money management problem. They have enough income, but they just do not, um, manage their money correctly. So before we get our paycheck, we need to have a plan of what we want to do with the money before we get the paycheck. So, do anybody have any questions for me in the live? I'll be happy to assist you. And I have this is my budget journal right here. And when I get paid, or even before I get paid, I'll go ahead and I'll write down all of my bills. See, it says budget. I'll write down all of my bills that is due so that way that I can remember what I have to pay. Because I know stuff sounds so easy to do, but I know life's, and life can get rough, and I know that people get busy, but it's just so much easier when we write stuff down and we have a planner. Because I know, we have to work, you have family that you have to take care of, but it's so important that we write down all of our expenses and then we track our expenses. Keep your receipts too. That way you'll know what you're spending your money on. So even if you just go to the grocery store and buy something, keep the receipt, and you can get a bag and keep it in your car, and then just track your expenses to see where your money is actually going. Yes, thank you for everyone for joining me. I said, let me do a live here on a Saturday. And then also in my description, I have digital products that I have a planner. Um, and remember, these planners are so important because it's amazing when we put things on paper. And then once you start budgeting, I recommend you tell and also you have to have boundaries if you want to get out of debt and you want to change your finances. You have to let people know that you're budgeting. And then after a while, I don't care if they're your spouse, your kids, your parents, let them know, hey, I'm budgeting. And then you'll notice that later they'll start respecting your boundaries and saying, hey, is this in your budget? You can say yes or no. So click the link in my description. If you need help with your personal finances, I'll be happy to assist you. I do one-on-one. And yes, you can turn things around. This is only temporary, but the first step is just figuring out what is the problem, what are we doing wrong with our finances, and then once we do that, it's we just have to come up with a plan and turn things around. So thank you everybody for joining. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. I am trying to grow my channel so I can help as many people as I can. My goal is help people to reduce financial stress because remember, when people have a lot of financial issue, it causes stress, it causes health problems. We don't want that. We want to live a healthy life. I know stuff is still going to happen, but if we can reduce stress, that is so important. So click the subscribe button and follow me weekly for more financial tips.